Over the past 2 seasons, the Milwaukee Bucks have been the most successful team in the regular season. Last year winning 60 games and this year on pace for over 65 wins before the season's cancellation due to COVID-19. But as I look at the Milwaukee Bucks right now in a series against the Orlando Magic, who are the 8th seed, they are having struggles and problems that they should not be having, especially in the first round. And don't get me wrong, I have to give props to some of the Orlando Magic's players. They definitely stepped up, and honestly a lot of them don't really play that well defensively on a night-to-night basis anyway, so to see them stepping up, it was really all effort, hustle, grit, and determination that got them that game 1 victory, and they deserved it. I mean, Markelle Fultz was looking like Gary Payton out there, so I have to give them credit where it's due. But before we go any further with this video, if you enjoy what you see from this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also the bell for post notifications. But without further ado, let's get on to the sad truth about Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. When Giannis Antetokounmpo first came into the NBA, numerous teams passed on him because they looked at him as a project, and some of them didn't want to wait as long and wanted players that were more NBA ready. And though it did lead to them missing out on a generational talent in Giannis Antetokounmpo, to an extent they were right. Giannis didn't come in averaging 30 points a game. He came in only averaging 7 points while shooting 41% from the field. But over time, with him adding more weight and muscle onto his body and more opportunities to develop and expand his game, such as playing the point guard under Jason Kidd, Giannis eventually grew into being the player that we know him as today. And over the past 3 to 4 years, Giannis has been one of the most unstoppable forces in the NBA. With multiple All-NBA selections and all-defensive teams, Giannis has established himself as not only one of the league's best players in the game today, but considering the fact that he is the favorite to win the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year, it looks like Giannis is on his way to establishing himself as one of the most dominant forces on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, putting him in a realm of all-time excellency that not many players in NBA history can say. So with that being said, you would think that he would want to put a championship on that resume. And sure, you could say Giannis is only 25, but when you're getting up there in the age, eventually winning MVPs and getting All-NBAs, Defensive Player of the Years, it gets old. We want to see you win a championship, and you could say he could stick it out in Milwaukee, but when you have players like Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe who can't step it up in the playoffs, I think it's about time for Giannis to hit that exit button and leave Milwaukee. Because don't get me wrong, it's not like Chris Middleton is a bad player, but let's keep it real. When you watch Chris Middleton hoop, is he out there actually making plays to where you're like, man, that guy's a legit hooper, man? Don't get me wrong, Middleton's nice, but he ain't that nice. Like, he's not a great shot creator. He's not someone you can give the ball to and you're guaranteed a bucket. I'm sorry, Middleton's just not that good. And when I see stuff like Bleacher Report rating him at 10th in the NBA, it just blows my mind. It's like, bro, even the numbers don't back that up. It's ridiculous how people look at Middleton in this different light just because he's efficient. Guys, being efficient is cool, but please put context behind it, because when you watch Chris Middleton play, you do not see anything close to superstar talent or potential, anything. Because as I watch the Milwaukee Bucks play, even last year in the playoffs, it blows my mind that people talk about how bad Giannis played, especially in the last 4 games where they got initially swept, but nobody talks about the fact that Chris Middleton was straight ass in that series. Middleton completely underperformed throughout the entirety of the postseason, it seemed like, last year. And this year, he's essentially copying and pasting what he did last year. He's picking up where he left off, as right now he's averaging 8 points against the Orlando Magic, shooting 25% from the field, 20% from 3, and 66% from the free throw line. The guy can't even knock down his free throws. He shot 92% from the free throw line, and he's shooting 66% in this series. This guy is just completely shook. I think the moment is too bright for him, and at this point, bro, if you can't step up, Giannis is going to step down and leave Milwaukee. And it's not just doing it alone. Eric Bledsoe, you think I forgot about you? Yeah, sure, you're averaging your cool 14 points a game. That's nice. It isn't great, but it's not trash. He's also shooting 47% from the field, but you're taking way too many damn threes. You cannot shoot, so stop shooting so many damn threes and breaking them. He's shooting 12% from behind the arc on 4 attempts a game. And when you go back and actually watch the games, Bledsoe is just putting up shots. Sometimes in transition, he'll just pull up for a 3, or he'll pull up for a contested 3-point shot. I'm like, bro, you can't shoot. Why are you taking shots that you know you can't make? And it blows my mind that people actually think that the Bucks are this juggernaut team because they want to discredit what Giannis is doing. Because it's not like Giannis doesn't have his faults, but when you have teammates who just can't play well in the postseason and they're either getting cooked by Terry Rozier or can't buy a bucket on Markelle Fultz, at a certain point we need to understand that Giannis is really not in the best position to succeed. Don't get me wrong, it's not like he has trash around him. Having a good fit doesn't mean you have a great team. Giannis doesn't have a great team. He has players that fit well together. DiVincenzo is a nice player. Brook Lopez is a nice defensive player. He stepped up on that end this year. You also have Chris Middleton, Bledsoe, but they don't have a guy that can step up and create his own shot consistently and also create for others, because it's clear that no one can do that on that team right now other than Giannis, who can't shoot. Because I hate to say it, but Giannis not being able to shoot also hurts this team. We can't just bash Ben Simmons for not being able to shoot and not criticize Giannis, because Giannis's jumper, there are days where he's hitting, but even in those days, he'll still throw up at least 2 air balls a game. So Giannis's shot, it can be hot, but it can be cold, and when it's cold, it's cold. And whenever that's happening, nobody can step up because no one can consistently create buckets. That's why the loss of Malcolm Brogdon could potentially have been the first step towards the Milwaukee Bucks losing Giannis Antetokounmpo. Because during his time in Milwaukee, not only was he an efficient bucket and stepped up and hit the shots that they needed him to hit, making Giannis and Middleton's jobs a hell of a lot easier, but he could also create offense not only for himself, but for others on that team, which is something this offense desperately needs. And the fact that they picked Bledsoe over Brogdon essentially, even though I know that contract was issued before Brogdon was in free agency, it was really a head scratcher for me. And though Brogdon hasn't been as effective as I thought he would be in Indiana, I still disagree with that move strongly and never would have made that decision. But when I look at this team, the real adjustments that I would make if I was Mike Budenholzer is to give a little bit more minutes to George Hill, because it's clear that Giannis plays way better with George Hill than he does with Eric Bledsoe because of Bledsoe's inability to knock down the 3-point shot. And also maybe throw a few minutes to Kyle Korver here or there. I know he's not great on the defensive end, but you are facing the Orlando Magic, who offensively, yeah, they're not that great whatsoever. But if I'm being honest, when I look at this roster, I do think they can still make the NBA Finals, because I don't think any team has any player that can stop Giannis, or the personnel for that matter, to be able to do it in a 7-game series. And with all that being said, I do think the Bucks have a chance to win the NBA championship this year. When you have a guy like Giannis and him having at least some decent supporting pieces that fit well, you can't say they don't have a chance. But it's hard to put faith in players that just have never shown the ability to be able to step up on a stage of this magnitude. And I'm actually very disappointed in Chris Middleton, because I actually had faith that he would play well in the playoffs this year. I thought he would finally just break out and have a really solid postseason performance, but I guess I was wrong so far in these 2 games. And it's only 2 games. I'm not saying that this is going to be the entire fate of their playoff run, but this does not look good, especially when it pertains to Giannis's future with this organization. I mean, think about it. Why would Giannis not want to go to play with a guy like Jimmy Butler at this point? A guy that everybody knows will step up in those big moments and do whatever it takes to get the W. That kind of mindset is what's in Giannis. He perfectly fits with that culture and mentality. Think about this. Chris Middleton said he never touched a basketball since the season stopped. He said that when he went back to the bubble. Meanwhile, Jimmy Butler was getting noise complaints because he was dribbling the ball in his hotel room. That just shows two different mindsets, and we all know the mindset that Giannis has. So when he gets to that point where he has to put that pen to the contract and he sees no rings on his resume, yeah, it's gonna be very tough for him to resist other scenarios. But that concludes this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, make sure you drop a like and comment your opinions down below. I would love to know your opinions. Also hit that subscribe button and push that bell for post notifications, as well as check out the links in the description box. But I'll see y'all guys later. Y'all have a great day. I'm out. Peace.